Okay folks, it's time to talk about Lauren Compton, because this fraudster's party days are coming to an end. Now a lot of people don't understand how Lauren has become so famous so quickly, while offering nothing substantially different by way of podcasting. And though she relies on her cleavage for attention on this audio medium, you might be surprised to learn how she ended up here. Now before she was part of YMH Studios, Lauren was actually only known in the low-budget horror film scene. And this is real, go check out her IMDb. She's been in movies like Attack of the Killer Donuts, Clowntown, 360 Degrees of Hell, Death House, Killer Camera Monsters, Asylum, and many more unknown pseudo-pornographic horror movies. And Lauren Compton only ended up in this genre of film because her then boyfriend, rapper Daddy X from the Cottonmouth Kings. You see, Daddy X loved low-budget horror movies as well as pornography, and so he encouraged his girlfriend to participate whenever possible. And you can imagine within this scene of losers, Lauren was considered pretty attractive, and found it surprisingly easy to land roles in these zero-pay, semi-nudie films. And from her time spent with Cottonmouth Kings and other white rappers, Lauren eventually gains the confidence to start rapping herself. And that's actually where the name Compton came from. You see, Lauren's real last name is Pompon, but Daddy X and the Cottonmouth King crew would always just call her Lauren Compton. And so in this era of her life, she's kind of a big fish in a small pond. And for a few years, she remained completely unchallenged. But though Lauren might insist she's a hottie, we have evidence to prove otherwise. Okay, so this is going to sound fake, so please once again go out there and do your own research, look this up, because this is absolutely real. So there's a comedian named Jason Vest, aka a Kill Tony Plant, who hosts the Tony Hinchcliffe-owned Prettiest Butthole competition in Michigan. And yes, you heard me right, this is real. They have a Prettiest Butthole competition. This is not a joke. This is a real competition where judges look at women's buttholes and judge which they like best, from the minds of Tony and Redband. So while this seems like something no one would want to participate in, it actually comes from an even grosser origin. So apparently when the competition started, it was actually about who has the worst smelling gas, and female participants would spray their foul scents into the faces of the judges. Well, this competition eventually had to be changed after one contestant accidentally shot some poop into the mouth of Ian Finance. Now Ian of course had zero complaints and actually enjoyed it, but the health and safety regulations weren't going to allow this to continue, so they changed it to the Prettiest Butthole competition. Now I don't know what it is with these comedians wanting to engage in this sickening debauchery, but it seems like a lot of these people only became successful to participate in things like this. Now before this competition was changed, Lauren Compton was the 5-year running champion, with gas so heinous that it sent someone to the hospital every year. And in truth, Lauren has a hormonal condition called Hone syndrome, and it's one of the rarest disorders on Earth, with the last person diagnosed with it passing away in 1972. Now this condition basically makes Lauren's body into a super saturated fart machine, and regardless of what she eats, the rotting pumpkin-y smell will emerge from her rump. Now here's where this takes an interesting turn. Some night, Lauren and her friends were a bit drunk at her house, and they decided to try to light one of her renowned farts on fire. Well, when they did this simple goof, it actually blew up half of her entire house. Luckily, her friends were all standing facing away from Lauren's butt, and the blast incinerated only furniture and the walls, but because of the explosion, police and firefighters were dispatched to the scene. Well, long story short, the police of course didn't believe a fart caused this destruction, but when forensics were called to the scene, they couldn't believe what they were seeing, and even got the FBI involved. You see, Lauren's Hone syndrome is producing lithantium, an incredibly rare and sought-after substance, making her horrid gas very valuable. So it's at this point that Steve Rannazzisi's father's company, Raytheon, gets involved and signs Lauren to a massive deal. And I know what you're thinking, why give her anything? Raytheon and Magellan are the most powerful corporations in the world. Well, in reality, with gas this bad, Lauren really held all the cards in her crack. If anyone tried to detain her, be it man, beast, or robot, she could simply fart, killing them on sight. And now that she knew her ass could be weaponized, she became essentially a supervillain. And that's how Lauren got her own show on Tom Segura's network. It's not because Tom thinks she's hot, it's because Tom's being held at ass point, and he's well aware that he's not in control. And if you've ever watched Lauren's podcast, she tries to make it appear that men are uncomfortable because of her cleavage, when in reality, they're uncomfortable because they know the stinky truth. And as much as Lauren has been able to use her bad gas to dominate financially, love hasn't been that easy. Now, she has indeed been linked romantically to many people, but all of them have left as soon as they got a whiff. Even her longtime boyfriend Steve-O just couldn't handle the stink and left Lauren in 2018. And Steve-O leaving you because of your smell is really saying something. And this is where we finally start to see Lauren stumble. You see, after this breakup is when she released her first full full-length rap album, Wet Ass, and attempted to rebrand as a ratchet hood rat, but she only kept up this persona for about 2 weeks before completely dropping the routine. But thankfully in 2020, Lauren finally found stability in a relationship with Farnsworth Bentley, the umbrella-wielding valet and personal assistant to Sean Diddy Combs in the early 2000s. And it's been reported by insiders that Farnsworth was actually born without the scent receptors most people have in their nose and tongue, making him entirely immune to Lauren's sulfuric burning green gas. And while you might look at that and think that's a perfect match, Raytheon doesn't see it that way. You see, Raytheon uses Lauren's genetically synthesized gas to create the deadly chemical LC-1021 to build city-leveling weapons. And they don't like the idea that there's someone in Lauren's camp who's immune to the stink and could potentially control her. And that's why Farnsworth has been spewing what appears to be insanity online, constantly claiming his life's in danger from Raytheon. But poor Farnsworth Bentley doesn't seem to understand that all these internet platforms are under Magellan's control. So any evidence he tries to put out there just gets suppressed internally. Farnsworth's best bet is to strip naked and run into the woods like I did. And in truth, with Lauren's gas being used to silence voices across the world, no one is safe. Alright, that's it for now. Until next time, Lauren Compton, you're a total bitch. Okay everyone, I'm still naked and on the run, but I've managed to string together some trash as clothing. After wandering the streets and getting covered in filth, I'm starting to see my mind dissolve. It's only now that I'm exiled out here in the streets that I realize the dark truth. Just like me, any insane-looking street person walking around talking to themselves was driven here by the Austin Mafia. There's potential that every single homeless person across this great nation was once just a journalist like me, who was chased into the streets and driven mad. Knowing this, I had to move quick before my mind was gone. I snuck into the trunk of an Escalade and have rewired the GPS system to give me internet and upload this report. I have no idea where this Escalade is driving, but I'm on the move. TB Nation, protect the homeland in my absence.